Here's a challenge. Imagine you need to calculate the total price for 200 products. Apply a 15% discount to each one, and then add VAT, all at once. Sounds like a nightmare if you are not using a calculator, right? But in Excel, you could set this up and calculate everything in under a minute. In this video, we are going from zero to fully understanding Excel formulas and calculation. This is the engine room of Excel. Let's get into it. A formula in Excel is an equation that performs a calculation and displays the result in the cell where you entered it. Here's what makes formulas special. The result is shown in the cell, but the formula itself is visible in the formula bar when you click on that cell. And here's the best part. Formulas are dynamic. If any of the numbers used in the calculations change, the result automatically recalculates and updates. You don't have to redo anything manually. This is what makes Excel so powerful for real-world tasks. Now, spreadsheet formulas are similar to the maths you do in class, but there are two key differences you need to know. First, every formula in Excel must start with an equal sign. That's how Excel knows you are entering a formula and not just text. If you forget the equal sign, Excel treats it as plain text and won't calculate anything. In Excel, you use an asterisk for multiplication and a / for division. Let me show you some basic examples. In math, if you want to add 45 plus 25, you'd write it as 45 plus 25 equals 70. Now, because we did not start with an equal sign, this is treated as text. In Excel, you go to the cell where you want the answer and you type equals 45 plus 25. Press enter and the cell shows 70. The formula disappears from the cell. Only the result is visible. The formula lives in the formula bar. But here's where it gets clever. Using cell references in your formula. Instead of typing actual numbers, you reference the cells that contain those numbers. Let's say B9 contains the number 50. And C9 contains the number 20. In cell D9, instead of typing equals 50 plus 20, you type equals B9 plus C9. Then press enter. The result is the same 80. But now if you change the value in B9 to 100, cell D9 changes to 120. You didn't change the formula at all. This is why using cell references is always better than typing raw numbers into formulas. It makes your spreadsheet flexible and reusable. You can do all 4 operations using cell references. For addition, it's equals B13 plus C13. Enter. For subtraction, it's equals B13 minus C13. Enter. Multiplication, equals 50 multiplied multiplication equals B30 asterisk C30, enter. Division equals B30 forward slash C30, enter. Raising an exponent equals B30 the caret C30, enter. Now this is critical and it's where a lot of students go wrong. Excel performs calculation in a specific order, just like BODMAS in maths. The order is brackets first, then the exponents, then division, multiplication from left to right, then addition and subtraction also from left to right. Let me show you why this matters with an example using cell references. So equal sign, I'm going to open a bracket, select B20 plus C20. I'm going to close the bracket and then multiply that by D20. And my answer is 20. So it added the numbers within the bracket, then it multiplied by that D20. Now, I'm going to use the same references, but without brackets. So equals the 5 B20 plus C20, and I'm going to multiply by D20. Then enter, 50. So this time it took C20, multiplied it by D20. Then that gives us a 10. Then it adds the 5. The takeaway: use brackets to make sure Excel calculates in the order you intend. When in doubt, add brackets. They make your formula cleaner and ensure the correct result. Okay, AutoFill. This is one of those Excel features that once you discover it, you can't imagine working without it. Here's the scenario. You've entered a formula in cell D34. So it's equal sign, this number plus that value there, B34 plus C34. Then enter. Now you need the same result for D34, D35, D36, all the way down to D59. Are you going to type it 26 more times? Absolutely not. AutoFill does it for you. Click on the cell on D34. Look at the bottom right corner of that cell. See that tiny little square? That's the AutoFill handle. Click on it and hold your mouse. Click on it and hold your mouse button down and drag it all the way to cell D59. And Excel copied and adjusted your formula into every single cell in that range. Here's the clever bit. Excel doesn't just blindly copy the formula. It adjusts the cell references as it goes. So D34, the formula says equals B34 plus C34. In D35, the formula changes to B35 plus C35. In D36, it becomes equals B36 and C36, and so on, all the way down. It knows that each row should reference its own row's data. This is called relative cell reference and is the default behavior in Excel. AutoFill works horizontally too. You can drag the handle from left to right. It even works for patterns. If you type January in a cell and drag the handle, Excel will automatically fill February, March, April, all the way through to December. Or type 1, 2 in 2 cells, select both and drag. Excel fills 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and on. If you type in a day of the week and you drag it down, it gives you the series of days of the week. And if I type 6, 12 and drag that down, then it gives me a series of numbers with 6 being the difference between those numbers. Let's put everything together with a practical example. Imagine you have a class mark spreadsheet. Column B has student names. Column C through to F has their test marks for quarter 1. In column G, we want to put the total marks for quarter 1. And in column H is going to show each student's percentage. On row 13, we have the total for each of these tests. And on cell G13, we want to calculate the total for all the tests. Now in cell G5, we're going to put equals C5 plus D5 plus E5 plus F5, then enter. We're going to select this and then drag it down, AutoFill down. On row 13, we are going to do the same. Equal sign, C13 plus D13 plus E13 plus F13, then enter. To calculate the percentage for each student, we are going to divide the total marks by the total score per test. Total score for all the tests. So that's going to be equals the total marks divided by the total score for all the tests, then enter. Gives us a decimal. To convert this to a percentage, we are going to click the percentage symbol. And to add decimals, we have this decrease and increase decimals. I'm going to click on increase decimals twice to add 2 decimals. Now, if I drag this down, I'm going to get errors because my formula is moving down. Remember the relative references. So I have to do this individually. Change that G14 to G30 and enter. There is a workaround to this, an easier solution, which we'll discuss in the next grade. So all of them have to be G30, 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 and finally G30. Now this would be painful if I had to do hundreds of rows of this calculation. But that's the formula. Let me leave you with some common tips. Tip 1, always start with an equal sign. Forgetting it means Excel treats your formula as text. Nothing will calculate. Tip 2, use cell references instead of numbers. If a price change, you just update one cell, not every formula. Tip 3, use brackets to control calculation order. When your formula has multiple operators, bracket make your intention clear and prevent errors. Tip 4, use AutoFill. Don't type the same formula dozens of times. Enter it once and drag. Tip 5, always check your formulas. A formula that contains an error might still produce a result, just the wrong one. Look at your formula in the formula bar and make sure it's referencing the right cells and using the right operators. Incredible work getting through this one. You now understand how Excel formulas work, how to use all 4 basic operators, why order of calculation matters, how to use cell references for dynamic calculations, and how AutoFill makes your life dramatically easier. These are skills that will serve you for years, not just in grade 10 CAT. Up next, we are getting into one of the most exciting topics in Excel: functions. Sum, average, max, min, countif, all of it. Don't miss it. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you there.